Hello everyone, I am Christopher, and today I will be starting a series of videos which will help explain the validity of the Holy Bible and the truth about the Holy Bible using natural proven laws. Natural laws that we grew up hearing about but never applying it to the Holy Bible. So today we're going to be talking about the second law of thermodynamics, which is entropy. And I titled this video Disorder, Randomness, or Uncertainty Within a System. And that is entropy, which is the second law of thermodynamics. So entropy states that as we move forward in time, disorder and randomness occurs. So as we move forward in time, randomness and disorder increases. That's the second law of thermodynamics, also known as entropy. So if we use this law and we apply it to the beginning of creation, and after the fall of man, we begin to see that after man sinned and disobeyed, what began to happen was the line of time, God's sacred timeline, and intended purpose for mankind split. So what began to happen was sin began to increase, disorder began to increase, meaning that more randomness and disorganization and the less of God's presence was seen here on earth. And the revelation that I got while applying this law to the Holy Bible is higher entropy means more disorder or randomness, while lower entropy indicates less disorder and more organization. Entropy is a measure of the energy in a system that is unavailable for doing work. More sin, more disorder, and less available, God's presence can be seen on earth, seen or felt here on earth. The less divine protection of a good and true God can be seen or felt on earth. So as more disorder increases, more randomness increases. See, God is a God of organization and order. So as more sin is seen on earth, as the line of time moves forward, the second law of thermodynamics states that more disorder, more randomness. So the more sin there is here on earth, the less divine guidance, the less divine protection, and the more of God's wrath is seen to try to correct that disorder and that randomness, to try to get back to the sacred timeline and God's purpose that He intended for mankind. So the second law of thermodynamics states that the entropy of an isolated system always increases over time, moving towards a state of maximum disorder. So, how I applied it to the Bible and how the revelation that I got to apply it to the Bible is, before the fall, the Lord God did not need to see ahead of time because everything in creation was in equilibrium. The will of God was already completed in heaven. So what God needed here on earth was a heart and a vessel to anoint His Spirit to begin to manifest that which was already created in heaven. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's where Jesus stated that from. That's where Jesus got that from. The will of God was already completed in heaven. Now, God just needed a vessel and a heart to anoint His Spirit to be able to create good, that which is good, that which is to correct the disorder that mankind created. And who came down to do that? Jesus Christ. So the Lord God just needed to make it manifest on earth through a heart and divine guidance on earth. So then if we continue a little forward, we start talking about the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only transformed. And this is where the manifestation comes from, of making God's will done on earth as it is in heaven. And that's what my next video will be about, is the law of conservation of energy, which again states that energy cannot neither be created nor destroyed, only transformed. So this is where we start to get into the energy and the spiritual aspect of manifestation through a heart, a vessel. And that's what Jesus Christ came to do, to create the New Testament, to create a sanctified spirit. So it would add some correction to the disorder and the randomness created by mankind after the fall, and after sin began to spread all over the world. So that will be my next video. I hope you guys found this video informative and entertaining, as it relates to combining the natural laws to explain the Holy Bible. You see, I'm going to leave off with this. You see, God's glory is seen in all creation. God's glory is seen in all creation. We just haven't discovered it yet. We haven't been allowed to discover some things yet. And some things we have been allowed to discover, which will add validity and which will prove his existence. There is a time and a season for every purpose under heaven. So I will leave off with this, and the next video will be on the law of conservation of energy.